God bless you. Pastor Farms, here we are. We're on live.
Yes,
We want
God.
to wait to those who usually join us to catch in. Want to wait for time for Facebook to catch people up. Also want to wait to our monitor to catch people up. We see Tony done just joined in.
Yes.
Amen. God is good. We give him praise. So we're thankful. We're thankful for the night. Here we go. Amen. Just went to a commercial on here. Don't want it to go to no commercial. Okay, just stay right here. Amen.
I think we got a pretty good topic for tonight.
I do too, Pastor Flowers. I really do. I'm excited about the topic. I'm excited about what it's going to do. There we are. We are on. I'm ready to get this going and go from there. Here we are. It got me looking at myself, but I don't want to do that. I want to bring it on down and go from here. Amen.
I see Pastor Copeland joined.
Praise God. So good to see you. Love you.
Love you.
Oh, yes. Awesome woman of God.
Yes,
awesome
oh my God, yes.
We thank God for
full of love.
Yes. Yes. And she loves us.
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does.
And we love her.
Love her right back. Yes, we did. Yes, sir. So we're kind of excited, trying to wait for some more people to join in. We feel this is an important message.
Yes, it is. It is.
Especially deals with the health of the church and individuals in the church and stuff. So again, it deals with relationships. So I want to wait for a few more. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. We just want to wait till everybody catches up and stuff in a few minutes. But we're going to get started. But God is good. God is so good. We can't. We're just excited about what He's going to do and how He's going to touch. It's a serious subject.
Yes, it is.
That's the flowers, and we believe the church needs to talk more about this in regards to relationship, not just when something bad happens.
Yeah.
We need to talk about it sometimes to prevent things from happening.
Yes, and let people know that there's help.
Absolutely.
You don't have to suffer, whether you're the victim or the victimizer. There is help.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And there is confidentiality.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When you're struggling with something, don't let it take you out like that.
Absolutely. The more we talk about different subjects in the church, especially in regards to everything the Lord gives us, but because we're talking about relationships, when it comes to relationships, the more we talk about stuff, the more it kind of compels people to come forward and get the help or voice the need of help that they need in certain areas of weaknesses, certain area of bondages and stuff. Also lets those who may be victims of certain kind of behavior to know that there's resources, there's help, you have backing, and stuff. And we've got to be able to in the church say when something is wrong. I don't care if it's your best tithe payer.
Oh yeah.
If it's wrong, it's wrong. No matter what side of the gender it comes from. If it's wrong, it's just wrong.
There's someone named Louise Wells said they were just talking about this today at their home. It is a subject that does need to be talked about.
Absolutely.
Needs to be dealt with.
Absolutely. So we're going to get great and get started. We thank God for you joining. We thank God for those who are on their way joining. We ask you to share and let people know the time empowerment is on here on Facebook Live. But again, some of you may have already gotten the idea of the subject that we're going to talk about tonight. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to be very serious and honest about this. Not that we are not serious about the subjects, but it's something that the Lord kind of dealt with us about. And He threw it in my heart. And I talked to my wife about it. And she felt also it's a good subject that we need to deal with. And it's about abuse. And the title of it, you'll see it right on the video, and you'll see a little caption. If you don't mind reading it, Pastor Flowers.
The title we have here is The Process of Systematic Abuse and the Callous Disregarded Displays.
Absolutely. Abuse doesn't come, and that's the thing we need to understand. And that's how sometimes it goes from point A to point D without sometimes people realizing where it's going to. It's because it doesn't come. People don't, you'll hear say this again, the abuser doesn't curse you out at first. Don't punch you in the eye at first. Don't knock you down at first. Don't tie you up somewhere first. But what they do is they may throw subtle things and see if you catch it.
Yeah.
Or they may do things that we sometimes just think, well, that's just a moment and stuff. It doesn't make a difference, how stressful the situation may be, how stressful someone's life is. When you're in someone's life and you say you love them, you don't treat them like they're an enemy because the enemy is working against you.
Exactly.
So there's nothing that says it's legal to be abusive to anyone. Whether it's, and understand this, there are more men that perpetrate abuse on women, but there are women that do fight. You know, they throw punches as
yeah,
well.
they do.
So, but we want to hit it on both sides, and we want, especially Christians, to understand, you know, going home and being full of stress and throwing words at your spouse or throwing things at your spouse or handling your spouse physically in a way that hurts them or makes them fear or mistrust you is not godly.
It is not godly.
You know, and it's not good to say, and you know what, and I can say this, woman, it's not your responsibility to hide that behavior,
Exactly.
to hold the reputation of that man who doesn't respect you.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying you need to get a bullhorn, go around the neighborhood and say, my husband abuses, my husband picks on me. But no, if he doesn't listen to your cry for him to get some help and understand what he's doing to you, then you need to go to someone that he's forced to get some help from.
Exactly.
And that's the bottom line. You know, we can.
And sometimes, you know, women think, well, if I say something, it'll get worse.
Mhm.
If you don't say something, it will get even worse.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying, you know, like what you just said, you don't go and you just spew a business out in the street to everybody. You have a pastor or you have
Absolutely.
someone that you can trust. Go and talk to them.
Absolutely.
And let them know this is what's happening in my home.
Absolutely.
You know, we see situations where people had to go home and get beat just for coming
Absolutely.
to church.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't keep silent about those
Absolutely.
things.
There were times when a husband and wife be in ministry.
Yeah.
And these are real live events, a husband and wife be in ministry. And if God would use the wife, the husband would be so upset that when she got home, she had to go through.
She had to go through because of the spirit of jealousy.
Absolutely.
Now, she had nothing to do with how the Lord used her.
Right.
But when they got home, he was so upset that the Lord used her just
Absolutely.
like that, that he, you know, first he was cold to her.
Mhm.
Then he wanted to be verbally abusive to her. Then he wanted to be physically abusive to her, all because he couldn't handle it.
Absolutely.
I call that the Cain syndrome.
Mhm.
You
Okay,
know,
yes.
because Cain could have done better,
Mhm.
but he didn't do better.
Absolutely.
Then he got upset because Abel did, and so he wanted to kill him. And that's
Absolutely.
what also happened in marriages, in relationships. And that's terrible, you know.
You know what, you brought up a point, a thought. You know, you think that here you have these women who are getting involved, men getting involved with women who are dragging their feet and committing their lives to the Lord.
Yeah.
But you're fired up for the Lord.
Yes.
You're going on for the Lord.
Yes.
And you think nothing of how this may affect the way they interact with you if you take this relationship to another level and you actually get married. And that is that no abuser wants to be upstage. No narcissist wants to be upstage. So if they feel comfortable in dragging their feet with their relationship with God, and you think that you're thriving towards God will have a positive effect on them.
Yes.
And stuff. So you go forward in that relationship, not understanding that they're back the way they are.
Expecting them to support you.
Absolutely.
Expecting them to be happy.
Absolutely.
You know, because of the stand that you've taken.
Absolutely.
And what you meet is with Cain.
Absolutely.
When you go in your house, you're going in the house with Cain.
Absolutely.
Because they're upset because the Lord used you.
Absolutely. But they think, Pastor Flowers, that they're pressing towards God will eventually draw them up. But you got to think, draw them closer to God. But you got to remember, our relationships get more effective with God because we choose and we submit ourselves to God. Your relationship with God is personal. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't pray for a spouse or a friend that is having some struggles or some bondages. Yes. But when you're talking about a relationship, you want to know how this is going to play out as that relationship starts to develop into other levels. So you think that your relationship getting deeper with the Lord is going to affect them in a positive way. Only find out that they made the choice not to be not to be zealous towards the things of God. And they don't want to look like as the covering or as the head, if it's the man, that they don't want to look like that you're outshining them, or that you know more about God and love God more than they do. So they get upset that if you get to a place where God is using you and it's becoming public that God is using you and stuff, and now all of a sudden it looks like there's slack because your diligence is magnifying their slackness. So every time you go home and God uses you, they threaten you. They're aggressive about, and they call you names other than someone submitting to God.
Yes, and I see where Elder Israel said, isn't it true that some verbal abuse is sometimes disguised as sarcasm, even in that area?
Absolutely.
That, oh, you married now. Oh, God used you tonight. You got to go through all of that. And you're saying to yourself, I just submitted.
Absolutely.
I didn't do nothing. What did I do wrong? Why are you mad with me?
Right.
They're mad because they didn't come up. They're mad because they didn't do the things sometimes that they know they need to do.
Right.
Or they're mad because it was your time.
Right.
Now, as long as they're going forward and you're their cheerleader,
and
you're, urging them on and everything. Everything's right with the world. But when they're not in the limelight, not everybody.
Right.
This doesn't happen
absolutely.
in even the majority of relationships, but it does happen.
Absolutely.
You know,
it happens enough to talk about it.
It happens enough to talk about
so,
it.
And Pastor, even when you said, and that was the point you made was absolutely good. Something when they're not in the limelight, but you are, they get offensive
and get sarcastic with it. Yeah.
But even when there was a time when you both were on the scene, be on the same level, had the same lack of zeal, same lack of diligence, same lack of effort or desire to go. It was okay then. But just as soon as you realize there's much more in me than this, I have to go forward. Now they look at you and let's bring up those sarcastic names. Oh, so now all of a sudden you think that you need to love God more than I do.
You all of that.
Or you all that now. And sometimes when people get challenged like that in relationships, they take it lightly. They think that this means nothing. But you need to, there is something manifesting and growing in that conversation that you need to pay more attention to. Arguments and words need to be paid attention because they lead somewhere when you just ignore them, and they go there without any opposition when you do nothing about it.
And you always think to yourself, okay, what's behind that? You're smiling, but something is behind what you just said.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And you notice that they say that and you encourage them. And if you said, well, you can, God's there for all of us. And they look at you and stuff and they wave you away, but you see no effort. And if it was just a joke and it meant nothing and demeaning to you, then you're coming back to them in a loving, caring encouragement will cause something to be produced in their life that would encourage them. But you see that when you say that, the only thing they do is recess more and attack you.
Yes.
Recess more in their laziness, in their lack of diligence, and attack you more.
And this is both sides. This can be men or this can be women.
Absolutely.
You know, it's across the board.
Absolutely. And that's the thing we want to talk about tonight when we talk about this subject is that most part, when you deal with the physical part, 99% of the abuses are committed by, when you talk about physical, are men. When you talk about verbal, it kind of goes up a little bit when you talk about women.
I know, well, they wouldn't mind, but the funniest thing that used to happen to us was where this woman was beating her husband.
Oh, yeah.
And he would get on the telephone, he would call, can you come get her? Can you come down here? She's doing it again. She's beating me. He wouldn't hit her. No. He wouldn't hit her, but she would tear him up.
Yes, she would. Yes, she would.
So it is across the board.
Absolutely.
It is across the board.
Absolutely. All right, honey, let's get into it some more. While you're reading that, I'm going to look over here to make sure we get it, so I won't miss any questions. I'm glad you're looking up there and stuff, just in case there's any questions. If you do have any questions, please do us a favor. If we miss it as it rolls down, please write it again.
I see Xavier enjoying it.
Oh, good. Yes. Good to see you, Xavier. Yes, but we will get to it.
Yes. The process of systematic abuse and the callous disrespect it displays. Now, this is what it says. An abuser can turn from loving you to discarding you almost as abruptly as it took for him to idolize you. Abusers idolize, then devalues.
Whoa,
and discards the object of their initial idolization. This abrupt, heartless devaluation is abuse. All narcissists, characteristics of those having an inflated idea of their own importance, all narcissists idolize, then devalue.
That's the key sometimes, Pastor, kind of gets people in, is because the narcissist is very charming.
Yes. They
know how to say what needs to be said.
Of course.
And guess what? Narcissists are...
Put your guard down.
Yes. Narcissists are discerning too.
Oh, yeah.
They know when, let's be honest, they know when emotional needy people come around. Because when emotional needy people come around, they don't discern this narcissist is only concerned with their own well-being and concerned with their own will. So they play on that and know how to say the right words at the right time and stuff. And it looks like this person has nobody else in mind and intentions to carry on a relationship other than you. So they kind of win you. You let down your guard just a little bit and stuff. You let down your walls and everything. Before you know it, they start saying certain things. So they start finding out how much leeway they have to make sure all the barriers are set so that a final lines of abuse is created and stuff. So we have to be careful going into any relationship or dealing with anyone, especially if you're dealing with one that's going on. How have you gotten to the place that you've ignored some of the behavior that's going on that is now offensive to you?
Yeah.
And let me say that one more time. How have you gotten to the place in your relationship and ignored the process that it took you to get there? That now the behavior that you're seeing coming at you in that relationship It's not offensive to you. How could you ignore the process that it took you to get there?
I think sometimes the idolizing, and the initial things that they said and the way that they treated you and how they made you feel, you felt like princesses, you felt like queens, and how good they treated you initially. You always think to yourself, this is just a bump in the road.
Mm-hmm.
You always think to yourself, well, that's not how they really are.
Mm-hmm.
When in actuality, it comes to be a point where that's unbalanced.
Absolutely.
They're more that way than they are the way that, you thought that
Absolutely.
they were.
Absolutely. They're more the way that they turn away from you than they were when they turned towards you. And when you talk about abusers, you can't leave out the word narcissism. But when you talk about abusers, just as high as they idolize you, just as high as they can be negative against you.
Yes.
They can in one moment tell you everything that you need to hear. And for some reason, whatever it is that triggers them off, they can go a 90-degree turn and stuff. And sometimes you don't even see the turn and the attitude change. Y'all, it should never be taken lightly. Even if no physical thing has happened, it shouldn't be taken lightly when a person can have one emotion at one moment and carry it on for a short period of time. And when you turn your head,
even if they apologize.
Absolutely. And when you turn your head, all of a sudden their attitude changes and they become aggressive and negative verbally. Nothing physically has happened. We should not take that lightly because that is not natural. And guess what? Most importantly, that is not natural and should be accepted from any Christian.
No.
That our mood changes are just that quick. And nobody ever thinks anything about it from a believer that changed that quickly to come from a loving, or at least a presentation of a loving person, to a person that is aggressive, that is dismissive, and stuff that of those words. And we're going to talk about that too. Okay, how aggressive or how upset you may be, there is no excuse. There is nothing that excuse name calling. Nothing that should be acceptable where we can start.
But then once you call the names and you come back and you say, well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, whatever I called you, I shouldn't have said that. You come back and you say you're sorry, but in the back of that person's mind is still going, I forgive you, but you said it.
Absolutely.
And it came from somewhere. And why did you feel comfortable enough to say that about me?
You said it.
Somewhere in your mind, do you really think I'm like that?
Absolutely.
Are you really saying that that's how you see me? Because you're going to think about that.
You said something. I'm going to go back to a statement that you said. I think it was the teaching before last that you said that sometimes people want to win an argument, and stuff. And is it worth winning the argument when you lose the person in the argument? And sometimes we say things or you hear things said to you and the person says, I'm sorry.
Just because you win the argument don't mean you won.
Absolutely.
Don't mean you solved the problem.
Absolutely.
It means you was a better debater.
Absolutely.
It means you have more.
And then how do you leave the person?
Yeah, and how do you leave the person?
Absolutely.
You walk out with your chest out, man or either woman. I sure told them, but look what you got to deal with now.
Absolutely.
You just raked that person over the coals and you made them feel your wrath. You made them feel like nothing. And now, look what you got to deal with.
You proved again that you're the champion of argument. You have the strongest demon when it comes to debate. But let me get back to this point that you said. You said that people say stuff and they say I'm sorry, but the other person on the other end, and let's even go a little bit further. You slap somebody.
Yes.
You pushed them. You throw something at them and stuff, and you say I'm sorry. And then the thought comes, and you said, and that's awesome. You said the thought comes, the person thinks in their mind, and they may not even say it to you because you're already explosive. Yeah. They don't want to rekey that thing up again or rekindle that thing up again. And the question is, that had to come from somewhere.
It came from somewhere.
Where was it in you that you did not deal with, that you thought it was okay? Can we be honest? That you call someone a name, that if they were that, you would be upset. Like a husband may get upset with his wife because she speaks to a man and he calls her a whore. And then, but if she was there, he would be upset with her and wouldn't want her. But you call her that. So the thought she has to ask you this is, if I was that, you would be upset with me like you are now. So in order for you to say that to me, you must think that that's in me.
And even if you don't say the word, sometimes the way we present ourselves to our spouses in questioning them or asking them about things, you're almost calling them that.
Absolutely.
Or you're almost calling them a whore, or you're almost calling him a whoremongler by the way that you're asking things.
Absolutely.
So that's a way to, even in that.
Absolutely.
That you don't want to offend somebody else's stand or somebody else's, movement that they're making,
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to be offended. You want people to look, I'm saved.
Absolutely.
I wasn't like that before,
Absolutely.
And I don't want you treating me like
Right.
that now. But you have to look and understand that it's just like we don't want people treating us like that. We shouldn't treat people
absolutely.
like that.
But and the bottom line is this: if you're not ready, and I'm talking to the work person that has a temper, you get frustrated easily. You say things that you say is not in your heart.
Doors.
You punch doors. You break stuff. You throw
Yeah.
stuff around. Listen to this, and I want you to be honest with yourself about this conversation. That is not normal. That is not just an act of a moment. You're not just, oh God, I just caught me in a bad moment. Now, okay, I can say that if it happened one time, or maybe even twice, but if this happens every time things don't go your way, every time the other one makes you upset, whether it's a woman or man, every time somebody makes you upset, and then someone may say, well, I'd rather be breaking stuff than to hit the person that, no, you know what? It's better that you do that, but it doesn't witness that you're a better person.
Yeah.
Because you're still destructive. You're still tearing up stuff.
There.
And then guess what? When you tear up stuff, you're going to have to replace it. Mm-hmm. So that means now your finances get hit. Mm-hmm. So the bottom line is that we're going to go ahead and go to the next thing and try to get to this one is this. If you're not ready to answer where that came from, don't say it. Don't call your husband or wife something that when they ask you where that come from, you try to push them off because you want to.
I'm just upset.
Absolutely.
You know you're not,
absolutely.
whatever. This. No, I don't know that because that's what you said.
You said that.
I don't know about what you said.
Absolutely. There are some words you can say I'm sorry for, and they may forgive you, but it doesn't mean the pain of that word that you said to them has gone away. Exactly. So I guarantee you it's going to come back up again. Now, and maybe, can I be honest with you? There may be lying on both sides.
Yeah. Okay.
The one that the words was saying to, they want to forgive you. Mm-hmm. They want to be able to go on. But the words were so deep and so cutting that only thing they can say is, okay, I forgive you. But then it comes back up again in something else in another way. Both have to be honest. First, you shouldn't say it to them. That's the bottom line. But if you find yourself in that moment that you say it, be answerable to why you said it. And then the one that is said to, make them accountable. Mm-hmm. Don't just say, I forgive you, when you know you can't live in that forgiveness. Get to a place of healthy forgiveness where you can live past that moment and it doesn't affect anything else.
Exactly.
And stuff, and that's the thing sometimes that people that the abusers sometimes don't get. You slap her around, you slap them around and stuff. They got bruises and stuff that other people can see. Now guess what they do? Now they're going to lie about it. Oh, something happened. I was doing this and I was doing that to protect your reputation. On that line, just on that basis, you should know they love you enough for you to get some deliverance. If they'll go out and put their soul in jeopardy, because if Jesus Christ came back when they were lying for you, they will end up in hell. Yeah. So that should be enough for you to change just off the fact that they will put their soul in jeopardy to protect you. Yeah. So you should get some deliverance just off of that. Yeah. Am I telling the truth? Absolutely.
And the old cliche, he beat me or she beat me because they love me.
Well, don't love me.
That's so true. I don't want to be that much.
No, that's hate me. just hate me. If you're loving me is to beat me, God, hate me.
Well, he's just jealous. He loves me like that. He's so jealous. Or she loves me like that. She just so jealous. Every time I talk to a female, she comes slap my face clean off.
Well, here's a question I have to ask Pastor Flowers is this. What foolishness has jumped on you to make you justify that behavior?
Nothing.
And secondly, if this keeps happening and there is something, what are you not doing that will take the power away from their justification to do that again? Exactly. Whether it be if you are putting yourself in the wrong position, or some people tell them they can't do it.
That's it. Yeah. There's some men and or women that need to have that talk.
Absolutely.
And need to let them know, look, this is not what I signed up for. You're going to keep your hands off of me.
Absolutely.
And if you can't keep your hands off of me, then we need to go to counseling. And if we can't, even after we go to counseling, you want to put your hands on me, then we don't need to be together.
Absolutely.
Because you're not going to put me 6 feet under.
Absolutely not. Y'all, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you the truth. We don't support people just divorce off willy-nilly. No. But nobody needs to be standing with somebody that's going to beat them upside the head. The resurrection's coming soon enough. Absolutely. Don't want to don't want to change. It's okay to go in the resurrection, but don't let nobody try to hurry your time up because they don't want to discipline themselves.
And I'm going to tell you, as a parent, you don't want nobody beating, banging, knocking on your daughters and your sons. Nope. You feel like, well, I done raised my daughter and I done raised my son, and they only had one daddy. Absolutely. And they only had one mama, and you ain't going to be, beating and banging and knocking on them and everything. Absolutely. You got to be beating and banging and knocking on them. Then, Absolutely. And they lying to their parents and saying that, that nobody's doing anything to look at the jeopardy. Yes. That's right. Before we get into look at the jeopardy people are putting their souls in. Yes. The Bible says the lion should not tarry in my sight. Look at the jeopardy people are putting their souls in over abuse.
because they're trying to hide what another person is doing to them because they love that person. I have no doubt that you love the person.
Yes.
But the person on the other end, the person that is perpetrating this abuse against you, their love has to be in question.
Yes.
You know, because the Bible is clear, love worketh no ill towards his neighbor.
I love that one.
Yes.
And if you can work ill to me, then you're not loving me.
Absolutely.
You know, when you're knocking me around, or whether it's verbal or physical or whatever, you're not loving me. No. I'm getting the anger side of you. Absolutely. And that's not what I signed up for. Absolutely.
Pastor Fox, can we do this? Let's drop on down. We'll work our way back up at another time. Let's drop on down to the abuses, to the 10 signs, the 11 things about abuse if we can. Let's go over that.
Okay. And
you got to it, huh?
No.
You want to read off mine, or you got it?
Okay. Well, let me see if I can get that. Or okay. While you're talking, I will be scrolling.
This is I think this is a serious. I know it's a serious subject, and I believe the church needs to deal with it more, and not just when someone comes with a black eye. We preach a funeral because someone has killed somebody in the home, domestic violence, and it's not just happening in homes where people are married. It's happening in relationships where people are trying to develop from a single perspective. One of the things I want to say to the young lady, you may be dating a young man that is handsome, and he may be stressed out because of being in, especially if he's in college or somewhere in school, maybe stressed out because of athletics, his grades, and all that stuff. But he needs to learn how to prioritize things.
Yeah.
Get some prayer and some deliverance. Because shoving you when he's upset, or shoving you when he has a bad game, or shoving you when someone accuses him of something that he did not do is no excuse. You shouldn't take the light slap. You shouldn't take the grab on the hand because you don't want to talk to him. Men, if she doesn't want to talk to you, leave her alone. Leave her alone. Don't get yourself in trouble and don't cause more problems for her because you want to get your point across. Woman, if he walks away and stuff, don't chase him, hitting him on the back of the head.
Don't be jumping on his back. That's right. Him all in the head and stuff.
Let it go.
Pray.
If you're a Christian, pray that God will give them a tender heart to listen, but also pray that you'll have tender words for something they want to listen to.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they walk away because what you're saying is too cutting, too aggressive, and too violent. They don't want to stay there for that. So not only if you want someone to pay attention to you, pray that God give them a hearing ear, but also pray that God give you temperance so that what you say they want to hear what you're saying. Amen. All right, huh? We can get
and even on the flip side of that, men, be willing to hear.
Absolutely.
Be willing to hear. It's more than about just what you think. You know, sometimes females get so frustrated and so stressed out because they feel like they don't have an outlet.
Right.
And then they'll go and begin to talk to someone else, and then their husband is upset. But when she came to try to talk to you, you finished her conversation, or you thought you knew what she was going to say, or you thought it was going to lead to another argument, so you shut her down immediately, or you turned cold to her. So you got to have an avenue open for being able to talk with her. You know?
Sometimes it's where, and I want to give an antidote to this. Sometimes it's where men may say, God, here she goes again. It's the same thing over again. Well, my encouragement to you to do this then. Finish it.
Finish it.
If you keep dropping it off, you keep breaking it off, of course she's going to bring it back.
Yeah, it's
finish it. And stuff. And when it's
finished, then there's nothing to bring back.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. You know, and sometimes, you know, I'm trying to work that thing and just came to my mind, you know, trying to work that, you know, about what I said we're going to put in one teaching. But it came to my mind. I don't know how I was trying to work it around a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe I can work it around. Now, I mean, I can't fit in this because it had nothing to do with abuse. So I don't think we can fit.
No, it wasn't abuse. No, it won't fit.
No, so we'll. I'm gonna get a subject just for this case and stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll do that next.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right.
We'll just pray about it. Whatever the Lord lead us to do, that's what we'll do.
I'm gonna pray about it.
You know, okay.
All right.
Here are 11 sneaky signs that you're trapped in an abusive relationship.
It's flying on my nerves.
Number 1, humiliation. Humiliation may start out with subtle verbal jabs, little digs, or insults in private, and then become full-blown yelling and embarrassment in public before you even realize it. It doesn't take much for an abuser to get angry for the smallest of reasons and convince you that you're the guilty party. You're the one that made them angry. You're the one that caused them to act that way. Yes, I started arguing in the restaurant. Yes, I started doing all of this stuff. But if you had never done this here, if you hadn't never did this here, then I wouldn't have done. That's not the remedy. That's not the remedy.
You had some temperance and some control.
This type of humiliation is meant to make you submissive and to control you in front of others. If they know that their public outbursts will make you subservient to their wants and needs, they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Their public outbursts, and you don't want it to blow all up and make a big scene, so you just take it. Just swallow it.
Well, what if they ask you to do something that you would normally say
yes,
no?
Yes.
You're not going to say no because you know if you say no, that's going to cause them to explode and you're going to be embarrassed. You know, most of us don't think, when we think about stuff like this, and maybe some of the other things that we talk about, we may mention during this teaching, some may not think about that as abuse. Some may think that's not abuse. But abuse is anything that causes you discomfort, causes you whether physical, emotional, or mental discomfort. Anything that causes you that and is perfect and is forced on you, that's abuse. And humiliation is abuse. When someone understands, I can get you to do what I want you to do if I embarrass you. If I put you in a place that you don't want me to act like I act, and I threaten you that I'm gonna act like that if you don't do what I say and stuff, and you end up doing it, that's abuse. That's abuse. If I force you to come out of your will, take your ability to say yes or no, or remove you from the freedom to have your opinion, that's abuse. That's abuse. That's abuse. All right.
Okay, number 2, verbal insults. You or your spouse or potential may from time to time lose your cool in an argument, but that never excuses name calling or foul language. You get upset and just let it rip. Verbal abuse can range from insulting your looks, your intelligence, or your worth, and it doesn't always include foul language. The main purpose of verbal abuse is to wear down your self-esteem so that you're
So you only want to be only be connected to them and only be relying on them,
right?
And stuff. Okay. You know, there are a lot of people in marriages.
So you compliant and relying.
Relying on them. You don't want you do what they ask you to do. And your self-esteem is built around what they give you and what they say to you.
And there's some that'll tell you, don't nobody else want you.
Absolutely.
Some that'll tell you ought to be glad you got me. You know.
There are some people who get in arguments, and the first thing they go after is what they know you're weak in. There are some women that struggle with weight problems. There are some men that struggle with weight problems. And when you get in an argument, first thing they say is look at you, and they start to talk about a whole lot of things about your weight. There are some people who struggle with whether they look good or not, whether they're attractive or anything. The first thing they come after when you get in an argument is you're ugly, don't nobody want you. Look at you and stuff. You know, you ugly and I stayed with you and stuff. And after a while, you hang around that long enough, you're gonna start to bleed that report. So,
but there are some people who feel like they have to do that. They have to keep you down like that. They have to tear your self-esteem down.
Absolutely.
Because one day you might think something of yourself.
Absolutely.
And so in order to keep you from thinking something of yourself, they got to make sure that you don't raise your head up. They got to make sure that they keep you in place by letting you know who they think you are, you know.
The abuser, the narcissistic abuser period, knows who they are. They know that without first diminishing who you are, or who you may think you are, without diminishing that, you're not gonna put up with that abuse. You're not gonna put up with some of the stuff they did.
No.
So if they can strip you from having any value in yourself,
exactly,
they'll keep you there.
Exactly. You can come into a relationship or a marriage with the highest self-esteem possible. If there's an insecure person, narcissistic person, or a person with some emotional issues themselves that you're in a relationship with, they have got to tear you down. To make them feel like you're somebody.
And can I be honest about something? This is not to pump anybody's pride. You may have been a step up for them. They may have never thought that you would give them the time of day. They've always this fly is getting on my nerves, y'all. I'm sorry. They may have never thought that you would give them the time of day, or that they would ever been able to pull you into their life. And then all of a sudden, you accept their invitation for them to get to know you. And stuff, and now they think to themselves, "Man, this is better than I dreamed." So what they do is, if they can rip you or tear you down, bring you down to the level of what they think about themselves, they assure themselves that you're not going to leave. So people who have low self-esteem but are bullies, people who have low self-esteem but are not, but abusive and stuff. Narcissists don't have low self-esteem. But I'm talking about someone who has a low self-esteem and they become a bully, and there's a step up for anyone that comes into their life and stuff. They have to beat that person.
Them in my life if I beat them down and control.
Absolutely.
Okay, physical violence. Physical abuse almost never starts with a busted lip.
Yeah, absolutely.
Abusers typically begin subtly with an intimidating stance. a hand raised, a grab of the arm, or a quick slap to get your attention. This almost always graduates to harsher physical slaps, chokes, grabs, or even punches if you let the previous abuse slide. The more you let slide, the more they're going to do.
Absolutely.
Abusers know that it takes time in breaking their spouse or potential down to thinking that the abuse is not an act of rejection, control, or manipulation, but a response to a lack in them towards what they are trying to bring into the relationship. It does not matter if it is a woman or a man. When they feel that the only path to getting their attention and compliance of the others to put their hands on them, they are an abuser.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, and we said this almost at the beginning, all abuse doesn't start out with a bus in there.
No.
It doesn't start out with, the harsh words.
Yeah.
It comes and stuff subtly. And then when it gets to a place where they feel comfortable to say what they're going to say, to grab you in a certain way, it comes at a shock.
The thing that you look at is the stats about how many teenagers, even school-age children, that are in relationships, but they're abusive. 16-year-old, 17-year-old, and they're punching and they're hitting them in the mouth, and even people that are dating. I don't get that. You dating and they're beating on you, but you're still dating them.
There are women and men that will overestimate a relationship because of an issue or struggle within themselves, and because they can't get out of that person at the level that they have defined. We'll say that again, that they have defined that relationship to be. They become aggressive. They become abusive. One of the things you want to be careful of if you're in a dating relationship is be careful of a person that is trying to call a relationship something that you haven't grown to, and they won't let you stay there. They won't let or hear your side that, no, I don't care. I'm not loving you like that, or I'm not feeling that way to you.
And they won't let you break up with them. They won't let you, take a step back. You're not taking a step back.
No.
They
you love me.
They won't let you make the decision.
Right.
It's
be careful with that kind of person in a relationship, because that person can become violent and aggressive, and they can become an abuser. Whether it's a verbal abuse or physical abuse, they become abuser. You need to be able to, in a relationship, you need to be able to define where you're at in a relationship, and the person who's in a relationship with you need to be able to respect your definition of where you're at in that relationship.
What about when you're in talking with a friend or a family member that's in that type of relationship, and as you're talking with them, you're trying to get them to see that this is abuse. And the only thing they can continue to say, regardless of what you say or what you try to show them, only thing they can say is, but I loved him. You don't understand. I loved him. You don't understand. He's a good man. You don't understand. She's a good woman. I loved him. But they can't come to the understanding that what is happening in that relationship could cost you your life.
Unfortunately, and it's a sad part about some people who are in relationships is that the only thing that is good that has happened in their life is a relationship. To have someone in their life. And when they get there and stuff, they're so connected to just the ideal of the relationship, they can't understand how toxic the relationship itself or the person in a relationship is. And so no matter how much you try to tell them, they can't fathom in their mind to have to either start over again or be by themselves. So they put up with being used, whether it's being used with money, or being used for sex, or being used verbally abused, or being physically abused and stuff. Those things they feel that they can get over. The physical wounds seem to heal. They ignore the emotional wounds and the mental wounds that go on and stuff, because the only thing that they play over in their mind over and over again is that at least I have someone with me. Even if they're dysfunctional in their show of care, at least they care enough for me. And this is the sad part about it. At least they should show enough care for me to at least show that they care by hitting me. They don't want me to go here. They don't want me to go there. And they show. And it goes back to the old adage where people say, they're jealous, and they beat you because they're jealous, not because they don't like you, not because they want to control you. It's just that they're so in love with you, they can't handle when it looks like you're going another direction. It's sad and unfortunate that sometimes people get so connected with an unholy soul tie that's so deeply demonic that the person that's in a relationship get blinded, blinded by the behavior, or at least by the seduction of the person. They can't see the behavior is destructive and toxic to their own life. So the only thing we can do is pray for them, continue to tell them the truth. Unless, and the thing is, you have to be able to stand forward and say, look, as long as you remain as my friend, or you come around me and you bring this relationship up, I'm gonna point out what I know about that relationship.
Yes.
Now,
and don't be lying to me about you hit the doorknob and you got a black eye, or you fell down the steps and you broke your arm. Don't be lying to me. Love me enough to say, okay, this is what happened. And don't
hold my friendship hostage to being quiet. Exactly. If you're really my friend, you'll be quiet and won't say anything that's gonna hurt me. Well, isn't that amazing? Now let's look at this. You tell me, if I'm your friend, I would be quiet and not say anything that's gonna hurt you. But you're not gonna say, if that person loved you, they wouldn't be hitting you and saying things to you that's not gonna hurt you. Now look at how unbalanced this is. And I hope somebody's listening that may be struggling with that situation. You're telling your friends and your family to be quiet and let you live out your friendship. If they love you, if they care about you, stop saying things that hurt you. Go against that relationship that you say you trust in. You want them to be quiet because you're saying if they're your friends, they're not going to say those kind of things. Well, how about if that person that you're in that relationship with, if they actually loved and cared about you, they would keep their hands off of you. They would stop using you. They would stop saying things that hurt your feelings, that hurt you and break you down, tear yourself esteem up. Use that same measure towards the person that says they care about you as you do towards the one that you know that cares about you. Amen. Next.
Okay, controlling behavior. I like this one. The controlling abuser aims to alienate you from everyone else in your life other than them. That way your friends or your family won't recognize the signs of abuse or come to your aid. Most abusers want you to be totally dependent on them and no one else.
Whoa.
At first, they may appear that your partner is just really invested in your life and your decisions, but it will slowly spiral into them being in total control.
Absolutely. If you have no one around you, and a little later, now I'm gonna get ahead of myself, but one of them we start to talk about in this as we outline is that if an abuser or someone that's trying to isolate you, the first thing they start to do, you're gonna hear say this again, you start to have problems with everybody in your life.
Everybody in your life. And try to convince you that they are against you and against them. Absolutely. They're not for you. You think they like you, they ain't liking you. You don't even know.
And if I can get you there, not me, but if the abuser can get you there,
questioning your relationships,
you break off all these break off all this kind of support. Exactly. And the only thing you have left is that abuser. And now they got you where they want to have you, because there's no one that you can feel you can run to to say. And most importantly, and even dangerous is that when they get you to that point, and if you do come to realize or come to discern that some of this ain't feeling good, now you're too ashamed to really break loose like you should, and as quick as you should. So you take more time to try to understand what's going on.
Not only ashamed, but fearful.
Fearful and ashamed, but because more ashamed because now you have to go to your friends because you realize now that this behavior, what they've been saying to you, is right. Some things don't look that good. Things are not feeling that good. So, and you know that you need to break away. But who can you go to? If I go to my friends, God, they may say to me, man, I told you so. And that's not how your friends are. No. Your friends will be ready to embrace you and protect you and help you come from that relationship.
And to be honest, if it's that abusive, there are agencies that can help you. There are safe houses. There are so many agencies. There's churches that can help you if you find yourself in that situation and you need to get out of it. We're telling you, you need to get out of it. If you have your children there, you need to get your children out of it. There are safe houses. There are churches. There's agencies that are standing and waiting to help you and to help the abuser if they want to get help.
Absolutely.
Because there is help for the abuser. Sometimes, they just got to reach out
and get some deliverance. It's one of the key things to get past this is there's an anger problem, there's a control problem, there's jealousy, there's a jealousy problem. And these are all root demons that the enemy will use to bring destruction to your life. Get some deliverance. Go and ask somebody, just getting angry is not just a product of stress. It's not just a product of losing your temper. There's some other foundational things there that the enemy's taking advantage of that's pulling that trigger to cause you to act the way you act. Get some help.
It could have been from childhood. It could have been from wherever. But it's time now to you get control of it.
Absolutely.
If you don't like what the Lord told Cain, if you don't control it, it will control you. If you don't conquer it, it will conquer you.
Most definitely. Okay.
Next. Unpredictable mood swings. That's number 5. The mood swings of an abusive individual can be staggering. For instance, they can go from pleasant and romantic to total rage in a matter of seconds. This extremely unpredictable behavior is almost only aimed at a submissive partner who they know won't challenge them.
Absolutely. They go for you can come from a good Holy Ghost service, and they are on your way out that door. They're laughing and smiling and grinning, and they will even tell you, "Hon, wait here, it's raining. Let me go get the car." And by the time they pull that car to their church door, you look in that car and you said, "Was that the same man or woman?
Was that the same one?
Is that the same one?" And you get in the car and you say a word, and you realize by their response that the person that walked from the church steps to the parking lot has changed.
Has switched, yeah.
And now they're a different person and stuff. And they begin to be
you're
aggressive.
Sitting there hoping that it don't escalate into, here we go again.
Absolutely.
And then there's sometimes when you open your mouth and you say something, it's not so much that something that you did, it's something that maybe Johnny said in the building, or a certain way that somebody else acted, and they were too coward, or they didn't want to go and deal with that. So you're going home, and all of that anger and frustration that belonged to Johnny or whoever, you have to eat it.
Absolutely.
It's bad to get beat up because of what somebody else done, but somebody else made them angry, and so they came home, or on the way home, I got slapped. My head got knocked over by the window and stuff.
There are incidents, and you brought it up. There are incidents where someone may have made them upset on a job or in their in church service, and in all honesty, they respected them too much to say the things they would say to you.
Oh wow!
But they don't respect you enough to not say the things that they would say to them.
Yeah,
and that's
you feel like saying, "I didn't do it."
Right.
Go tell them.
Absolutely.
And then right away they're gonna say, "Oh, you think I'm a coward? Is that what you're trying to say?" So you don't know what to say.
It's just that the same respect or temperance that you show to not saying the things that you say to the person that's actually made you mad. It's the same temperance and respect you show to the person that loves you and not say the things to them that you wouldn't say to that other person. Amen. Pastor, I don't know if there's any questions that I'm trying to look.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm next.
Okay. Picking at faults. Does your spouse or potential treat you like a child? Most abusers who use verbal abuse as a prime tool will treat you like a misbehaved child, yelling and disciplining you as they demean and point out your every fault. Wow. However, if you try to correct them, get ready for a serious, defensive, and angry backlash. There is nothing wrong with discussing things that you think or feel may have been done wrong, but an abuser will do this with a period at the end of their presenting their faults to you, and if you attempt to express another sentence or point out their faults, they question you as if you're calling them a liar, and not discuss with you the openness that they may have misunderstood.
Here's the key thing about all of this, about the person that points out faults is they will come to you and they will point out something that they felt you did wrong. You may come to them and say, I didn't do that wrong and stuff. And here's the crazy thing. When you think about it, you kind of think, man, has our mind sometimes going hoodwinked? Because sometimes as spouses, sometimes we say something to our spouses, and our spouses said, I didn't do that and stuff, or that wasn't like that. And we had the audacity to ask them, well, you trying to say I'm lying? And I don't think we get it yet. I still don't think we get it. I'm going to explain more what I'm saying. Why should it be a subject of lying when you're questioning the behavior that they did? Yeah. And if they tell you they didn't do that behavior, then you are lying, or you have misinterpreted what's going on. It's not a fact. It's not a fact of that they have to be a liar about the behavior that they did not do. If they didn't do that thing, and that's the thing about an abuser, someone who points the fingers, they want to be truthful about a behavior. When they tell you that you did something, they want to be truthful about it. That means that what they're telling you did, even that you didn't do it, you have to admit that you did it. Or else, if you say anything else, if you say anything other than that, you're saying that they're a liar. Well, understand this.
So you don't have a right to step up and defend yourself against the lie.
No.
You have to take the consequences. Okay, just because you said it and your passion is there and that's what you believe, I can't tell you, I can't say to you that it didn't happen that way. That's not what I meant. That's not how I said it. That's not what I did. Because you're convinced that I did it, and bottom line, I did it.
There's something just plain and simple. I put my glasses on, right? And I look, and I'm just looking around my glasses on. Then I take my glasses off, and pacifier looks at me and says, you just put your glasses on, put them down. Why'd you put your glasses on, put them down? I didn't put no glasses on and put no glasses on and put them down and stuff. Or something, and I may have it backwards, but anyway, no, I guess we'll go different. I would come to you. Let me get this right, because I come to you about something that you did. I saw you do, or something you did, and I misinterpreted you doing it. And I say to you, didn't you eat my dessert when I left? And I thought I saw you eat my dessert when you left. You look at me, you said, no, I didn't eat your dessert. Matter of fact, you ate all your dessert before you left. You were asking me for mine. And I said to you, yes, you did eat all my dessert. And you look at me and said, no, I didn't. And I look at you and say, with all chocolate around my mouth for my dessert, so am I lying? So now what I'm saying to her is that in order for me not to be lying, she has to say that she did something. And that's how we do it. Listen how silly this argument can become, especially when you hear from this point of view. She has to say she did something that she did not do in order for me to be to accept her, her point of view of anything. That means she has to become the liar to my lie. Yeah. And isn't that foolish? And that's what abusers want to do. It's a miserable place to live. Absolutely. All abusers want you to do is make your truth into a lie, so that lie become your truth.
Man, that's a miserable life.
And then, I think I got it right then. I think I kind of fixed it up. I think you did. Okay. All right. Placement
of blank. No, that was this one. Alienating friends and family. A little bit more added to that.
Yes.
Alienating friends and family. An abuser knows that they won't get away with mistreating you if you have a supportive family and friends in the picture to challenge their behavior. That's why they will slowly try to convince you that others don't appreciate you. Other family members, other friends, they don't appreciate you or value your relationship. And you have to believe that because they're convincing. Or claim that everyone in your life has an issue with them. They don't like me.
They looked at me funny.
Yeah. Or that they have some kind of problem with them in the past. The abuser will then make it either your family, friend, make it either your family and friends or them. You have to choose which one it's going to be. With the undertone, keeping any friends and family that they have pointed out as an act of rejecting them.
Yes.
They will even accuse you of believing lies that were told you by those and that want out of your life, those that they want out of your life, despite the fact that they have never been brought up in any negative way by your family or friends. If you yield, you will soon lose all sense of yourself and only have them for support. What better way to control your behavior?
Yes. But let me say this before we talk a little bit about this. Then we're going to go down to the 11-1 and we're going to work one more up. But time is almost ready to come up. But I thank God for how you do my reading, my writing. Sometimes it's like interpreting tongues, but I appreciate that. But the key thing is this here is, if you're in any relationship and the only thing the person that you're in a relationship wants to do is get rid of your friends, that should be a sign there's a problem there. Yes, there's some things that we change when we get deeper in relationships, when we move from dating to marriage. And sometimes even in the process of marriage, there are things that we change, there are things that we change. But good friends always remain. Friends that have been beneficial, productive to your life always change. But the red flag should always go up if every one of your friends are a problem to them.
Yeah. Or even in the family, all of a sudden now you can't go to the gatherings. Well, they just don't like me. I don't think we should go. You can't go to the birthday parties. You can't go to the weddings. If you do go, you got to go and hurry up and leave. Can't have time really to associate with people because they just want to get out of there. They're sitting there, they're manifesting, they're frustrated, they don't want to come. They didn't want you to go by yourself. That's the only reason why they really came. Those things need to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Talk about it. Open up the door of talking. If they don't want to talk about it, hey, continue to talk.
Absolutely.
Continue to talk. If you plan to stay in a relationship with that person, it's worth addressing what's going on wrong.
Absolutely.
And then you can make an evaluation, especially if you're not married. If you're not married, definitely address those grabbing of the arm, address those aggressive behaviors and stuff.
Absolutely.
Because when you say I do, the grabbing of the arm is going to be the pushing.
Absolutely.
It's going to be the slapping. It's going to be all of those things to keep you in control, whether it's the man pushing and slapping or the woman pushing and slapping. We're across the board here because it happens on both sides.
And we've got to deal with this. This cannot be something that the church keeps quiet about or that people keep quiet about in our homes. We need to be able to live in our homes in peace and in unity and stuff. We don't need to live in a home with one eye open and the other eye closed when we're asleep, not knowing how that person will be and how different they're going to be when they lay down to when they wake up. Or if I make a mistake, can I go to them about my mistake, or do I have to hide it? And then you hide it, and then it comes out some other way, and then now you're really in trouble. So we need to deal with these kind of things. We need to deal with them, whether it's from the pulpit to the pews. We need to deal from it because there are some fighting preachers here. Let's be honest. There's some fighting preachers. There's some fighting preachers that preach a message that set your soul on fire and then go home and set their spouse on fire as well. Yeah. So we need to deal with those kind of things because it's a serious event that's going on. And if we're going to talk about change and deliverance in the church, it has to start in our homes. We have to get our homes in a safe place. Children don't need to be in a place where they hide from someone who's being aggressive against the other parent that they love as well.
Yeah, and then you look at the example you're showing your children.
Absolutely.
You know, especially with the females, you know.
Absolutely.
You never show your daughters that it's okay to be slapped around. It's okay to be abused. Never show your daughters that this is love. This is what love does to you. Like we said a while ago, the word of God said that love works no ill to his brother.
Absolutely.
You know, the Bible also says to love in word and in deed. And if you beat me up or else tearing me down and my self-esteem is so low, then you're not loving me. No. I don't care how much you say you're loving me. You're not loving me because you're not doing it in word and in deed. Yeah. You there's some issues going on there. We need some counseling. We need some help here.
Absolutely. Let me see this. We're gonna get to number 10.
Number 10, okay.
And then then I'll finish. Okay. We'll finish on out here.
Okay, number 10 says gaslighting is a term that you may not be familiar with, but you've probably seen it portrayed on TV and in fiction. The term refers to manipulating someone into doubting their own sanity or understanding of events. So in a relationship, if your partner refuses to see your side of an argument to the extent that they question your understanding of reality, it could be a sign of gaslighting. The abuser forces the victim to question their own reality in order to gain control over them. They will talk to you with a subtle suggestion that there may be something wrong with you. If you hear that enough, and subject yourself as if it is something that you might need to consider, you have just been gaslighted.
Absolutely. You know, in these abusive situations, we talk about this subject, this area gaslighting is, that sometimes the abuser will question your reality and how you see things. You're not seeing it like you're seeing it, but yet you are.
Yes, you are.
It's there. And stuff, you need to admit this. Let me say this fast as we get ready to close on this is, it doesn't matter where the abuse is coming from. If this abuse, it needs to stop. Whether it comes from a husband slapping a wife or a wife slapping a husband, or whether it comes from a parent who has no control and they punch their children. Wherever that abuse is coming from, there's an issue going on. There's a problem going on. Homes need to be a place where there's smooth interaction, where there's love going on. People can trust the words that's coming from the mouth of the other person. And if you disagree with them, you're not going to do anything that's going to hurt them physically. We need to, those are the kind of house we need to be. That when there's a problem that you can't solve by talking it over, that you pray about it. And you wait to hear an answer from God. But you don't try to beat an answer that's conducive to your opinion and your will just because the person disagrees with you and stuff. You want to be right. And that's the thing that abusers at every level, whether it be parents or whether it be husbands or wives, whether it be potentials going in a relationship, they always want to be right. If you're dealing with someone, you're trying to develop a relationship and they can never hear your side that may make what they're thinking wrong or not fit, you can rest assured that abuse is going to grow. That person is going to do all they can to turn your mindset towards the way they're thinking. So you need to take those kind of signals and understand that either this relationship is going to make it, but if it's going to make it, we're going to have to get some deliverance, some counseling, and some training. And
again, we say, if you find yourself, it's something that we said tonight, and you find yourself in that situation, understand there are safe houses.
Absolutely.
There are pastors that you can talk to. There is someone to talk. Don't suffer in silence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then if you decide to work this out and you're going to get the change or help that you need, get some deliverance.
Don't think that you can be your own counselor.
Absolutely.
If you have yourself as a client, you got a fool for your counselor.
Absolutely.
Because you can't counsel your own self. Because
Absolutely.
you're not going to see yourself clearly.
No.
Right away, you're going to see yourself as justifying why you did this and justifying why you did that. There's no justification anywhere in Scripture for putting your hands on anybody.
No.
No justification in Scripture that justifies you tearing down the self-esteem of anybody. So those are issues that we need to address.
That same self that had you making excuses for it is the same self that's going to counsel you and make you justify it.
Yeah.
So go get some help. Go get some counsel. And so let's deal with some things. We don't need to be arrogant and prideful in the church.
Exactly.
If there's some issues going on, let's get help and let's deal with it so we can have a better presentation towards not just those who witness to, but to the family that we live around. Listen, we want to thank you for joining us. I pray that we, Pastor Flowers, that we said something that will encourage them, and we pray that you keep on listening, tell other people that time and promise is on.
Share this video with someone you think really needs it.
Absolutely. If you have any other questions, you can inbox us, and or you can drop us a line at our email address, apostleflowers51@gmail.com, roofflowers07@gmail.com.
If you need any help or you want to inbox and have it confidential, and you want to know where you can turn to for help, certainly inbox us.
Amen. So we'll see you again on our next broadcast. Our next broadcast is we're on the third every other Tuesday of this month. I can't remember the exact date, but we'll put it up. It'll be on after this broadcast is over. Listen, we certainly do appreciate it. We don't take it lightly. We thank you for joining us. Again, we ask that you share this video. Keep us in your prayers, and God bless you. And be honest with your friends. Those that you know are hurting or in dangerous relationships. Your friendship, listen, means a lot to them. And don't let them put your friendship in hostage, saying that if you love me or if you're a real friend, you won't say those things that's going to discourage me. You retort back to them. You use that same measure that you use towards the person that's abusing you. And because I love you, I'm always telling you the truth. Listen, God bless you. We'll talk to you again on the next one.